Assalamu alaikum dear students. Welcome to the third lecture of the series Nuclear Reactors. We have already discussed light water reactor in lecture 1 and in lecture 2 where we studied boiling water reactor and pressurized water reactor. And in this lecture we shall study CANDU reactor. CANDU stands for Canadian Deuterium Uranium Reactor. CANDU reactor produced electricity by splitting atoms of natural uranium to produce heat. This heat is used to produce steam, which runs the turbine, which produced electricity. CANDU is a Canadian pressurized heavy water reactor designed to generate electric power. It is used deuterium oxide as moderator and natural uranium as its fuel, means don't require enriched uranium as fuel. CANDU reactors were first developed in 1950s and 1960s by a partnership between Atomic Energy of Canada and Hydroelectric Power Commission of Canadian General Electric. The basic operation of the CANDU design is similar to other nuclear reactors. Fission reaction in the reactor core, heat pressurized water in a primary cooling loop, this loop, and heat exchanger, also known as steam generator, transfer the heat to the secondary cooling loop, which powers a steam turbine with an electric generator attached to it. The exhaust steam from the turbines is then cooled, condensed, and returned as feed water to steam generator. The final cooling often uses cooling water from a nearby source such as lake, river, or ocean. Although all CANDU plants today have used open cycle cooling, modern CANDU designs are capable of using cooling towers instead. First, let's look at the controlling the reactor. When the reactor is operated, the power level is controlled by adjusting the rod and by varying the water level in the vertical cylinders. Sensitive detector constantly monitor the different aspects like temperature, pressure, and reactor power level. When needed, CANDU reactors can safely and automatically shut down within a second. CANDU reactors have two efficient and equally effective shutdown systems. The first shutdown system is made up of rod. They fall automatically and stops the nuclear reactor if some unusual happens with the nuclear reactor. The second system inserting the poison, which stops the reactor immediately. Both systems work without power or operator intervention. However, they can also be activated manually. These systems are regularly and safely tested. Once the reactor system is shut down, it can only be started with the operators. There is absolutely no possibility that the reactor accidentally starts after the shutdown. The reactor must be manually restarted. Let's understand how we draw the decay heat from the fuel. Cooling the fuel. Because of decay heat, nuclear fuels required continuous cooling whether or not reactor is operating. Fuel coolings involve three main systems: heat transport system, steam system, and the condenser cooling system. Let's take a closer look of each of these. The heat transport system brings the heat produced by the reactor to the generator. This system made up of very robust pipes. These pipes contains the fuel and the flow of heavy water. Heavy water, a special type of water, exists naturally, flows in these pipes. These fuel rods are maintained and inspected regularly and replaced if it is required. Inspection includes measuring pipe wear and tear and measuring any microscopic leakages, which leads to the changing of the pipe well before it becomes a problem. The second system is the steam system. Uses normal water. The heat from the reactor turns this water into the steam and runs the turbines in the generator. Steam is then cooled and condensed by a third system that uses cold water from a reservoir, that is usually an open source lake or a cooling tower. This is called the condenser cooling system. Like other components, steam and condenser cooling system are regularly inspected. Now let's look at the third basic part, which is the containment of radiation. Nuclear reactors can build with multiple barriers to safely contain radiations. At the heart of all CANDU reactors made of ceramic pellets made of natural uranium. These pellets contain first layer of radiation. The pellets are contained in rods, which are the fuel rods, which form the second layer of containment radiation. CANDU fuel rods are made up of zircon alloy, a metal alloy extremely resistant to heat and corrosion. The rods are then loaded into the pressure tube, which are the part of the heat transport system. This is the third layer of the containment. The pressure tubes are containing inside a metal tank called calandria, which itself contained in a thick wall made of reinforced concrete. The fourth layer of the containment is the containment building, which is made of concrete, and this concrete wall is of 1 meter thickness. The reactor building surrounded by a 1 kilometer exclusion area or no-go zone. After the uranium or nuclear fuel used in the reactor, it is removed and stored in a pool for a period of 6 to 10 years. The water in the pool continues to cool the fuel and provide shielding against the radiation, and they are built separately from the nuclear power plant. These underground pools are capable of withstanding with earthquake. Let's discuss the construction of the CANDU reactor with the help of this diagram. Here you can see that the core of the CANDU reactor is kept in a horizontal cylindrical tank called calandria. You can see here the calandria. Fuel channel runs from one end of the calandria to the other end. Each channel within the calandria has two concentric tubes. The outer tube is calandria tube and the inner one is the pressure tube. The inner tube holds the fuel and pressurized heavy water coolant. This design allows the refueling of the CANDU reactor within the real operating condition. Here you can see that the fuel can be inserted from here and the used fuel can withdraw from here. You can see here the control rod. These are the adjuster rod and the heavy pressure reservoir, and which is used to exchange the heat with the normal water here. A heavy water exchange the heat with the normal water that converts into steam that is used to run the turbine. Then the condensed water will come back again in this chamber and will again convert to the same. By contrast, the core of the light water reactor is vertical and contains vertical fuel assemblies, which are bundles of metal tubes filled with fuel pellets. The reactor core is kept in a containment vessel. Unlike other nuclear reactors, which are designed to use enriched uranium fuel and light water as moderator, CANDU heavy water reactor use non-enriched uranium fuel. Natural uranium oxide is used as a fuel in CANDU reactor, and heavy water is used as moderator. Here, two major considerations are need to be addressed in more detail: the use of heavy water in moderator in the CANDU reactor, and the use of natural fuel in CANDU reactor. These two considerations are also connected with each other. We will discuss both of these in the next slide. Okay, as like all of the other reactor, moderator is the most basic part for moderation of the neutron to slow down the neutron. But what is the difficulty? When we use the natural water, light water as moderator, the light water gives more absorption cross section. No doubt it slows down the neutrons, but it provides more absorption cross section. As a result, neutrons are absorbed after few collisions. The moderator is the material in the reactor core that slow down the neutron release from the fission, so they cause more fission and sustain the chain reaction. The moderator in light water reactor is ordinary water, but CANDU heavy water reactor use heavy water and deuterium oxide, which has a chemical formula of D2O. Unlike ordinary water with its familiar chemical composition of H2O, heavy water includes two atoms of deuterium. Unlike ordinary hydrogen, which has no neutrons and a proton in its most common form, deuterium has a neutron and it at its center. The availability of neutron provides a major advantage. Let's discuss it here. What is the quality of a good moderator? Good moderator is used to slow down the speedy neutron is something that is the same size as that of the neutron itself. This is true because if a neutron hit a massive target, it would just bounce off in a different direction, but a little loss of energy like a hard ball against the wall. If neutron hit on an object much smaller than itself, it would just continue virtually unaffected. But if it hit a hydrogen, which is just a proton and an electron that is almost exactly of the mass of the neutron, it could lose all of its energy in almost one collision, just like in game of billiard ball. However, hydrogen absorb neutron as well, and we want to preserve these neutrons for fission reaction. The deuterium isotope provides a major advantage in this situation. Deuterium has an extra neutron. When neutron collide with the deuterium atom, it will absorb some of the energy and will be scattered. Means deuterium provide scattering cross section and normal water provides absorption cross section. So availability of more number of neutron will be facilitated. The deuterium isotope of hydrogen at twice the mass of the hydrogen is almost a good and slowing down a giant, but since it is already has an extra neutron in the nucleus, it has a very low absorption cross section. So overall deuterium is a far better moderator than hydrogen. By using deuterium in the as a moderator of the heavy water in CANDU reactor, natural uranium will be used as the fuel. In other case, the enriched uranium is required. In ordinary reactors, like in light water reactor, we use the enriched fuel, and enrichment of fuel is a complex process. As we know that the natural abundance of uranium-235 is only 0.7%. First, the raw uranium will be mined and then it will be transported to the facility where a complex process is required for the enrichment of the raw uranium to the enriched uranium. So usually reactor grade uranium should be enriched up to 3 to 4% enrichment. Let's discuss the calandria and fuel design in more detail. In conventional design with a pressurized core, refueling the system requires the core to shut down and the pressure vessel to be opened. Due to the arrangement used in CANDU, only a single tube being refueled needs to be depressurized. This allows CANDU system to be continuously refueled without shutting down. In modern system, two robotic machines which are attached to the reactor are used for the refueling of the system. From one side of the reactor, the robotics enter the tube, and from the other side, the used fuel could be withdrawn. Let's look at the fuel arrangement in the calandria. Each fuel bundle is in the form of a thin tube filled with ceramic pellets of uranium oxide fuel. The bundle contains 28 to 37 half-meter long fuel elements. 12 to 13 such assemblies lying end to end in a pressure tube. It is about 10 centimeters in diameter, 0.5 meter long, and weight about 20 kilograms. Each fuel bundle can generate about 1 gigawatt hour of electricity during its time in CANDU reactor, after which it is replaced. In the diagram, you can see here these assemblies are lying here. The fuel rods can be seen here. This is the first layer of the containment, and above this layer there is the pressurizer tube and then calandria tube, and the pressure tube is inserted here, and over which the heavy water circulate in the system. In conventional design with a pressurized core, refueling the system requires core to shut down and the pressure vessel to be opened. Due to the arrangement used in CANDU reactor, only the single tube refueled needs to be depressurized. This allows the refueling of the CANDU reactor without shutting down. In modern system, two robotic machines attached to the reactor faces open the end caps of the pressure tube. One machine pushes in the new fuel, whereby the depleted uranium is pushed out and collected at the other side. If we summarize the major advantage of this special design, then we can highlight it in some point that single tube is being refueled need to be depressurized in CANDU reactor, whereas in other reactors the whole assembly should be open. CANDU continuously refueled without shutting down. In other cases, in case of other reactor, shutting down is required for the refueling of the fuel. Refueling using robotic machine is done in CANDU reactor, whereas in other cases manual refueling is done. Failed or leaking fuel bundles can be removed from the core easily in case of CANDU reactors. The fissioning process generates energy in the form of vibrational kinetic energy of the fission product. Such vibrating molecule constitute a familiar phenomena to all of us. The fuel heats up as a result. If we don't cool the fuel, it will melt and the radioactive fission product will be released from the reactor core, and that can contaminate the environment. To prevent this, a coolant, water commonly used, is passed over the fuel. You can see here the block diagram. Heavy water will be circulating in the primary loop, and that will exchange the heat with the normal water that will convert into steam in this steam generator. Then this steam will be used to run the turbine, and by using the condenser, the steam will be condensed and will liquefy and pump again in the same chamber, where it will convert into steam again, and this process will go on. We typically use the heat engine process to turn this heat into more usable form of energy. This heat is used to boil water, and the resulting steam drives a turbine which drives an electrical generator. Shielding is the next important component of the CANDU reactor. Uranium isotopes are not very radioactive by themselves and do not constitute direct radiation hazard. You can safely hold a fresh CANDU fuel bundle in your hand. It is the fissioning process that creates the nasty radioactive fission product. These are dangerous and must kept in isolation from us. We protect ourselves from them by thick walls that slow down and absorb neutron. Combination of hydrogenous materials like water and hydrocarbons and absorbing materials are used as the shielding material. We can see here the calandria is contained in a separate concrete vessel, and the whole system is then contained in a building that is also built of concrete with 1 meter wall thickness. Usually for gamma, lead is an efficient shielding, and for the neutron, concrete is used as an efficient shielding. There are some advantages associated with the CANDU reactor. CANDU is the most efficient of all reactors in using uranium. It uses about 15% less uranium than a pressurized water reactor for each megavolt of electricity produced. Use of natural uranium widens the source of supply and makes the fuel fabrication easier. Most countries can manufacture relatively inexpensive fuel. There is no need of uranium enrichment facility. Fuel reprocessing is not needed. So, cost facilities and waste disposal associated with reprocessings are avoided. CANDU reactors can be fueled with a number of other low fissile content fuels, including spent fuel from other water reactors. This reduces the dependency of uranium in the event of further supply increases, shortages, and price increases. Apart from the advantages of the CANDU reactor, there are some disadvantages associated with the CANDU reactor. First is the CANDU plant is comparatively easy to divert spent fuel in order to produce plutonium for nuclear weapon. Second disadvantage is that CANDU reactor could experience a violent power excursion, potentially leading to the contaminant failure and a release of radioactive material to the environment. This is all about the CANDU reactor. So let's meet in the next lecture. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.